Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel.
Hello, humans. I have taken over this video. You are now under my control.
Whoa, okay, that was weird. Anyway, I'm back. This is the real me. Or is it? Yes, it is the real me. So today we're going to talk about AI, and this is something that a lot of people have asked me to discuss and to demystify, to break down. So I'm going to do my best to explain it as well as possible. I am, number one, I'm not an expert. I have worked with it, so I know the fundamentals, I know how it works, and I understand how it is applied in corporate environments. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start with the basics, then we're going to move into application, and then we're going to move into how it is being used. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's get started. Now, what is the first thing that we need to learn? The first thing that we need to learn are the fundamentals. And we're going to start from the very beginning. So what is AI? At its, I guess, most fundamental and basic, AI, or artificial intelligence, is when you take a computer and you give it the ability to perform cognitive actions like a human being. For example, problem solving, language, reasoning, understanding concepts, context, things of that sort. So this has been happening around for a long time. So let's talk about a little bit on the AI's history. Scientists and researchers have been working with AI for a very long time, from the 1950s it looks like, and they really tried, but it never really took off because the data, the technology, the speed wasn't available until most recently. Since the 2000s, the 2010s, and now most particularly the 2020s, AI has really exploded in its use, because with the advancements in technology, the advancements in data availability, speed, it is now possible to make it useful, to produce something that is actionable, usable, and can be applied to many different fields, both on the consumer side and the corporate side. So what types of AI are there, or are commonly known? There's three basic types that are used or that are being discussed, which is the narrow AI. Narrow AI is really the AI as we know it right now, which is it targets topic specific, specifically for a particular application, and that's what we know. There's other types of AI, such as AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. That's something that it's talked about a lot, but it's currently being researched. That there's no real AGI. It is said that when that exists, the AI will be self-aware, and right now that's not the case. And the last one is the superintelligence, which is artificial intelligence has surpassed human intelligence, human capability, and is now capable of doing, I don't know, anything it wants. So this is just hypothetical. It's not even feasible at this point. Now, what most people know or hear about when they hear about AI is what we're calling generative AI. It's called generative AI because it's used to generate some type of content, some type of output. In order for us to understand generative AI, we need to understand a few different concepts. So let's start with the most basic, the most talked about, which is a large language model, or LLM. I'm going to be referring to it as LLM. So what is an LLM? An LLM is a model, is a type of AI that has been trained on a lot of data, but most importantly, is able to understand and communicate using natural language. So in the past, with computers, you had to interact with them in a very specific way. You couldn't just ask for something in, I don't know, plain English and have the computer just understand you. But with LLMs, that has changed. Now the LLM is capable of understanding context, and it's also able to understand what you mean between the lines, let's say, for example. Now, what makes them powerful is not their ability to understand language, is the fact that they are trained on a ton of data, and they're able to rationalize that data in a human-like approach. So when you ask it a question, for example, it is able to understand what you want. It's able to look through its training data, and it's able to provide an answer that makes sense in that context. So that's what makes them powerful. Now, there's a lot of things about how the LLMs work that I think we need to understand in order to continue forward. So there's something called a token. And what a token is it's like a piece of a word. So the LLMs don't count or don't really separate text into words like we do. They separate that into tokens, which is why you hear a lot about tokens, tokenization, token usage, etc. It's just the way that the AI understands and is able to not only take input language, but also produce output language. So what the AI does is it guesses. When it's responding to you, it sort of predicts what the next word is. So it takes what you bring in, what you give it, it breaks it into tokens, it looks through its training data, and it tries to find patterns in the data that match the context that you have provided it. Once it finds those patterns, it sort of starts putting the answer together a piece at a time. So what it does is it guesses it predicts the first thing, it looks through it again, it predicts the next thing, it predicts the next thing, and that's how it builds sentences, just a piece at a time. Now there's been a lot of talk about that being inefficient, and it's why there's a lot of hallucinations. So there's new technologies now, or new research that is looking into ways to make it more predictable, more efficient, and I guess more intelligent, let's say. The other thing that we should know about the LLMs is that from an intelligence perspective, they are sort of frozen in time. So if your model of that model was trained with data of, let's say, for example, end of 2025, that's as much as it knows. It doesn't know what's happening since the end of 2025. So when it's providing an answer, it provides it from that lens, through that lens. Now, what the big companies are doing is, in order to close that gap, is they have given the LLM the ability to search or look for information that is more recent. And we're going to touch upon that in a little bit. Just understand that as far as the LLM is concerned, it is kind of frozen in time. Something else that you need to understand is what's called the context window. So a context window is the amount of text that it is able to process at any given time. So why does that matter? So I guess another thing that we need to understand about the LLMs is that they are what's called stateless, meaning they don't really have a memory in the conventional sense. The way it works is every time you communicate with an LLM, all of the information is passed to that LLM every time. So what does that include? That includes whatever you asked it, but it also includes other things like something we're going to call this system information, which is, in short, is a set of instructions to the LLM about what it is, what role it's playing, and what it's supposed to do. Just a simple example is, let's say, for example, you say to the LLM, you are an AI assistant, or you are an artist, or you are a helpful mechanic, or something like that. So it is passed in every single interaction. So every time you communicate with an LLM, the LLM will read the system information, which is what is it, the question or whatever you asked, which people call the prompt. And it also reads things like the user information if it's available. And something that OpenAI does with the users of ChatGPT is it allows it to read other chats. So it's also able to retrieve information from those chats dynamically. And it's something we'll learn in a little bit. Think about it that way. So every time the LLM needs to answer you, it has to learn everything all over again. Everything that it has chatted with you, everything that was in your original prompt, all of the other prompt injections that may happen dynamically, and all of that happens in every interaction. You start a conversation, it sees the context the first time, it answers you, you ask it again, it sees the entire thing all over again, it answers you, and as you continue that conversation with the LLM, that amount of text that is being passed grows, which is why sometimes you hear in the news how the new LLM models have larger context windows. The reason that is needed is because if you reach the end of a context window for a given LLM, it's going to start, I guess, quote unquote, forgetting the initial parts of your conversation. So the longer you go with that same chat, the more confused it's going to become, because things that it told you or it said to you in the past or it did have been forgotten, have been compacted in order for it to continue being able to help you with the present requests. It has to forget about the past requests. So that has always been a problem for LLMs. Which is why you hear the companies, the major AI companies, increasing the size of that context windows so that you can do more, and without it forgetting or having to compact that context. However, that comes with other problems, which is the LLMs sometimes get confused because it's like information overload. So the research into how to properly stack that context and that prompt, that's ongoing. So yes, I mean, that's a lot about LLMs, but this is fundamental because, as we will see later, the LLMs are really the core of the entire thing. So I want you to take that LLM and I want you to pin it in the corner for now, because we're going to revisit how those LLMs are basically at the center of everything. They're kind of the brain. Oh, and before we move away, remember, the LLMs are not just trained on language. They are trained on pretty much every topic possible. So they know, I guess in essence, they know everything, at least everything that has been given to them. They know a lot more than just how to speak. Okay. All right. So the next area of generative AI that I wanted to visit was the visual content. Visual content is something that is more recent than just the text. I think some of us remember when ChatGPT started, it was just like a Google type of webpage, which it still is. But it could accept text and it could produce text. But AI has evolved since then to more visual media or medium, where it now is able to produce more visual content. That includes images, video, things like that, which is why you hear in the news that there's a lot of controversy about using AI to produce visual media rather than humans. You know, historically, there's always been a creative field for people to use their skills. For example, for animation, for movies, content on the internet, things like that. So there's a lot of controversy about, or games, using AI to produce that. I guess the ethical problem with that is if you use the machines to do all the work, that takes jobs away from people who, you know, have the skill, have the art. So there's a lot of discussions on that front, but let's just talk about really what it is. So the visual content generation is the next evolution of the generative AI. So as we said, it used to generate text, but now it's able to generate other visual media, starting from text most of the time, which is why you hear or you see sometimes people refer to it as text to image or text to video, things like that. So that's kind of like the more fundamental part of it. In essence, what it is you can type a prompt to an LLM and you can tell it to produce a visual output. Now, the LLMs themselves are models that can only produce text, but there are other AI models that generate visual media. Sometimes you hear them being referred to as diffusion models, or when they're generating an image, they start with a diffused set of pixels, and from there they start to layer in all of the additional detail. So in short, there's a lot of technology involved, or a lot of ways that the AI can produce visual media. But it all starts with understanding the natural language, which is your input. Now, more recently, there's been other types of Gen AI, which include image to image, or video to video, things like that, or image to video, which is what you're seeing on the screen right now is an example of an image to video. So the initial image was created using text to image, and the subsequent video was an image to video. In other words, the AI was able to generate animation based on the original input image. At the center of that, there is a text component. Again, there is a language component, which is where you provide your text instructions of what you want the video to do and how to use the input image. So in short, just to conclude, the visual generation part includes producing images, producing animation, producing live realistic video, things of that sort. Something else that we're going to get to is the production of training videos, something that companies are doing nowadays. They're using AI to produce those training videos rather than using the real actors. All right, moving on to the next type of visual content is going to be the visual understanding. So what does that mean? That means you can now communicate with an LLM with more than just words. That's something that you hear referred to as the multimodal chat GPT type thing, meaning instead of you telling it just through words what you want, sometimes you can input an image, you can paste an image in the text input box, and it will read that image. So there is like an internal way that it understands the actual image, but it's capable of looking at it almost the same way as a human would. I mean, some people have even tried to trick the AI into finding things that are hidden or camouflaged in images to see how accurate it is at finding camouflage things. But for traditional usage, it's pretty good. Usage that some people miss to, I guess, use the image understanding is in the use of OCR, or also known as optical character recognition. In the past, you needed specialized software to take like a PDF or an actual page that you scanned, and for it to understand the text in that image. Nowadays, you don't need the specialized software anymore. All you have to do is you can upload it to an LLM, a multimodal type of chatbot, and you can ask it to take the text, extract the text from that image, and just give it to you in a text file, and it's really good at it. And in addition to that, it can even format it for you. So yeah, I mean, something that people sometimes don't think about using it, but yes, OCR is another form of image understanding. Now let's talk about these realistic avatars, or sometimes it's referred to as a lip sync. So what that is what I explained to you a minute ago. It's you take an image of a person, most likely, maybe professionally dressed, and you provide an audio. And we're going to talk about audio capabilities of AI in a minute. And you can tell it to basically move the lips, move the facial expressions and the hands and things like that of that avatar, that image that you provided, and realistically lip sync the audio that you have provided. Now, that's not the only way, but it is a very practical way of using it. Another way that is also used is to ask the AI to also provide the audio as well as the lip syncing. And we're going to talk about audio in a little bit, like I said. So the avatars are currently used mostly by companies to just create training videos and guides and things like that, but you can also use it for other purposes. Now, something else that is being used on the visual generation is, it's called VTubing. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but at its core, it's basically, let's say I am looking at a camera and I'm moving and I'm doing motion, and this AI is in real time taking my actions and it's recording them into a character, like an anime character, for example. So what you see, what the viewers see, is the anime character moving in the same way as the individual in front of the camera. So that's actually really good, and it happens seamlessly. So a lot of people use it for platforms like Twitch, where they are streaming content. They don't want to be on camera, so what they do is they use the avatar. They use that anime character as the face of it. Okay, moving on to the next type of generative AI, audio generation. I think we kind of touched upon that a minute ago, but it really boils down to the AI's ability to generate some sort of audio content. One example of that is what's called text-to-speech, or TTS, which is, like I said, I provide a text input, and what it does is it turns that into some sort of speech audio file, audio output. There's different models that can do that. They can use different voices. Many of them, if not all of them, have stocked voices, like stock models, like pre-recorded voices that you can use. So what you do is you provide the dialogue, and the AI simply uses that to produce an audio file of that text being spoken. You can either type a narration, so the audio produced is narrated, or you can put dialogue, so the AI will basically speak that using the voice that you select. Something else that a lot of people do is they do a voice clone. So these AIs nowadays, they're very advanced, They can take a few audio clips of your own voice that you have pre-recorded, and they will attempt to clone your voice by saying whatever you type it. So that's part of the text-to-speech, is you type whatever and it uses the clone of your voice to read it. Now, in my experience, that's unless you create that model from scratch, you train it from scratch, the capability to clone is pretty good, but it's not perfect. But it won't deceive people who know you, but it could pass as you for people who are not don't know you as well. Something else that we're going to talk about in the audio generation is the generation of music, and that's again another controversial thing, because authors and artists, they're offended, I guess, in a way that when you create art, you have to have, you put your heart, your soul, your spirit into it. There's emotion built into that, whereas music generated by AI is, I guess, soulless, heartless, cold. So that's that's part of the controversy, which is where is the human element of art? Some people believe that using AI to produce music is just shortcutting the process. Others believe that it's, like I said, soulless, and others believe that it's not a big deal. Some people have used devices, electronic devices, to create music in the past, and this is just another tool. So where you sit on that depends on your personal preference. The next type of Gen AI is code, and I think we've heard a lot about this. I certainly have used this. It's extremely useful, actually. Something that these models are very well trained on is how to write code. And I have seen it personally. I have tried it, and it's I can't deny how impressive it is to be able to say to an LLM something in natural language, in plain English, and for it to start producing code right in front of you, in front of your eyes. And the code that is being written is super fast. I'm not a programmer, I'm not a professional developer, so I can't speak for the quality of the code, but it is well known that if there's something that these LLMs are good at, is code. So a shortcut that I have taken, or I guess a creative way that I go about qualifying the quality of this code, is by using other AIs to evaluate it. Since you can basically tell the AI what role to play, I have taken one AI that generates code, and I have pitted against another AI that evaluates the same code, and they're both independent, they're separate. One does not interact with the other, and that's how I have attempted to get high quality results out of it, which is to constantly have one AI review the work of another AI. Of course, that doesn't remove the supervision of a real human being, and in environments where the quality of the code or the integrity of the code is critical, the approach that I took would not be scalable. But it's one way, if you're just a hobbyist and you're trying things out, is one way that you can at least ensure that the code that you're writing is on the right track. But that's basically one of the biggest innovations of late, which is the ability to write code with human prompt. So for those of us who work in consulting projects, specifically projects that build IT systems, we are used to having an interaction between the business users with consultants who are functional in nature, and those consultants would document everything that is needed and would provide that documentation, which is called functional documentation, over to the development team, who would turn that into a technical set of documents. That process usually involves multiple people who are translating things end to end. And what this is now sort of shortcutting is that process, because now you can have someone who is a pure business user tell the AI what it wants, and the AI will simply just build it for them. Now, for corporate system, that doesn't work like that. Otherwise, you would have hundreds of employees building hundreds of mini apps to do whatever they want. That's obviously not practical. But it does sort of cut that middle between the functional consultants trying to document everything into very nitty-gritty requirements, and having to explain that to the technical resources who would have to absorb it, who would have to turn it into a technical spec. You can now, as a functional resource, you could now theoretically speak or tell the AI what the functional requirements are, and they don't even have to be overly detailed. They could be high level, and the AI can now turn that into a practical technical development plan, and it can write the documentation as well. So it's obviously not something that's going to remove a lot of this work, but it's definitely going to facilitate the production of written content, the production of written code. And what the developers end up doing is they end up reviewing the code rather than writing the code. And many companies have gone in that direction. They, especially large IT companies, software companies, they have removed a lot of their workforce and replaced it with AI, with the thought that, AI can do things faster. I don't think companies are saying AI can do it better, but they're certainly saying it. They're saying it's going to be faster. They won't require as many people to be involved. Their deadlines are going to be shorter. But as we'll learn in a little bit, that has not worked out very well.
Hello everyone. We covered a lot of ground in part 1, and things are getting interesting, aren't they? Look for part 2, where we'll dive into the world of agentic AI. Looking forward to seeing you there.